Right, so Superimpose is a new world creative agency challenging brands to go further, independent, culturally rooted and globally active. We push the limits of experience to spark meaningful conversation.
So yeah, obviously every agency has to have its spiel, but we worked quite hard on this, and over the 3.5 years we've been running, it's changed a little bit, but I guess what's really key in this one is, the New World Agency, and that's really speaking to that new consumer. We don't really try and, okay, this brief's up, we're going after millennials, or it's Gen Z. It's really just, we want to speak to as many people as possible. And then, culturally rooted is really important, globally active, and meaningful conversations. Throughout this presentation, you'll see lots of case studies about, it's not just the campaign, but it's the conversations we can push around that.
So here's a picture of us in our first office. There's a little basement in Hoxton with one window, which we couldn't see the sky from. A lot happened in there, a lot of ideas. So a little bit about us. I'm from a graphic design and art direction background. I've worked with clients such as Palace Skateboards, Adidas Originals, Converse, Boiler Room, Bleach London, and quite a few bars and restaurants in the Dalston area.
Yeah, which we all know well. I started in trend forecasting actually, like nearly over 10 years ago, and then that led me into content strategy. So I was really always interested in the why. Before we got to anything, it was like, why? Where did that come from? I bounced around lots of global agencies, some brands. Channel 4 was out for a few years. And then, Adidas before we set up Superimpose.
I guess how we kind of started these conversations, we've been friends for quite a while. We bumped into each other a lot at kind of various nights out, drinking, more drinking, and then, we always kind of knew we were in a similar kind of area in our work, and we always kind of, we'd see each other one night, next morning, we'd bump into each other on the way to work, have those kind of, frustrations and conversations, and just again, a couple of drunk conversations later, we thought it might be worth doing something.
No, definitely. It was really understanding that the position we were both in, whether it was working directly for big brands or within a big agency, it was, we just didn't feel like that setup was for us. At the time, we had no idea that, it could, become something like this, but it really was those frustrations. Toby was like one of the only guys I knew who was out on the piss with me, but also the next morning having to go and do serious briefs. So those conversations led to Superimpose.
Doing things differently. So we both saw an opportunity to start something that was independent, culturally rooted and visually against trends. One of the main focuses was to create a company that could flex up and down depending on workflow. So luckily between us, we had the skills to kind of start doing things and, making projects without having to really reach out any further than between us. So, the kind of strategy and then working into creative and design, we could keep as quite a small kind of close-knit team. I guess as well, there's always been a kind of desire with the company to keep it quite open-ended. We didn't want to get pigeonholed as like just doing strategy or just doing creative or just doing design. We kind of, we attack each brief with almost a naivety as we can do it, but we always manage to pull it off, and I think that's something that we've done from the get-go. Yeah,
and I think just going back, the reason we set up together was we both were at the different ends of the spectrum for the creative, offering. My background being more brand positioning, content strategy, Toby's more design, art direction. So in the middle, we met as creative directors, and this tagline, doing things differently, really was about, okay, cool, let's see if we can set up an agency and all those frustrations we had. If there's the other way that we think's the right way, what would happen? And, fortunately, it's worked out a dream, and now lots of our clients come to us, and all of the staff we have and the team really have that mentality about doing things differently. It really, a lot of the time we're saying, yeah, that's just the way it is. We got used to hearing that previously, but it really isn't. And I guess just keep pushing forward and have that confidence to deliver was something that doing things differently is something that will stick with us.
So we're going to go through a few projects from our kind of, early days through to a few more things that are a little bit more current, but still maybe a year old or so. But start with this one. We were lucky enough to, we had links at Adidas, which, was very beneficial to us starting out, but this was our kind of first brief as Superimpose. It was a global campaign to relaunch a Stan Smith, Adidas Originals' biggest selling trainer ever. So no pressure. We had to develop a 360 strategy and creative campaign to work across every phase, from retail, social, at home. So this was kind of a key visual that I think there was only a few markets that bought into it, but what was it?
I think the brief was going into 7 key markets, and then because of the success, it got extended to 18 key markets. So yeah, these billboards were seen across the world. And it was mad because I think this came 3 months after we set up Superimpose and, call it timing or whatever, that I think when they gave us this brief, it was a massive gamble that they took. And I remember it was just the 2 of us who did this, and a lot of late nights. But yeah, it turned out a dream.
After that, we kind of, we Adidas really liked us. And we managed to keep a good working relationship with them. And for a couple of years, we did a lot of their kind of campaign, art direction, creative direction. And this is just kind of a snapshot into some of those projects, ranging from, the end of like collaborations with Japanese brands through to some of the kind of kids stuff. So it's quite a wide range that we were working on.
Yeah, and I think what was the attraction for Adidas was, and something that we've learned and included in our proposal, is that we are the audience. Lots of the agencies that are probably using before us were probably a little bit older and a bit further away from the audience we're trying to speak to. So what we came in was like, it wasn't us going reading trend reports or hiring the young kids to tell us what was cool. It was like, let's just make what we're into, our network of friends. And yeah, I think this slide here particularly is when we got brought on at Adidas, they were very much that commercial brand, Littlewoods catalogue type of look, and I guess what they asked us and what we've helped them do over the 3 years was really figure out how they can present themselves as a bit more, I guess, cooler, and that was done through, the way we cast, the confidence in, the angles, cropping through the face, lots of that sort of stuff. So yeah, this page just gives you an idea of how we took Adidas on that journey in the last 3 and a bit years.
So I guess that kind of sets it up for, how we've kind of continued that way of working into one of our latest projects that came out, I think it was earlier this year, spring kind of time. So I'll let Ollie intro.
So yeah, Burberry approached us because Christopher Bailey's last collection, they wanted to introduce the rainbow check for LB, what's it?
LGBT.
I always get that mixed up. Apologies. So yeah, when they approached us, and basically he wanted to go out with a bang. And the weirdest thing for this brief was that when they approached us, lots of the work in the brief was our work from our Instagram. This was before we even agreed to do it. So it was like, if we don't give it to us, who are you going to give it to? But what was great was that they asked us to just be us. It was like, we want you to tell us how we can make a big bang in this space. Break the rules, no guidelines, no brand book or anything. And for us, it was something, the whole team were really excited for, and, all skill sets jumped in.
Yeah, so it's quite a all hands on deck approach to this brief. There was kind of various skill sets we had in the studio, from, senior art directors through to a couple designers that worked across this. But a little bit of the creative process. So this is one of the earlier visualizations when we kind of shot the assets and everything. But we wanted, we kind of did a bit of insight on this generation, and we kind of saw this idea that there was no boundaries of style, cross-pollination, and subcultures to define their own as their own. We kind of came up with the term non-era because it was kind of unplaced. This new kind of internet generation where everything's a reference point. So this is a couple of the shots that we got, some of the collages we made. We got to make a rainbow check banana, which was quite fun.
I'd never thought they'd let us do that, and it definitely needed to be immortalised in internet history. Burberry official check banana.
You could actually use it as a Giphy on Instagram for a little while, but I think they took it down when Riccardo Tisci took over. So, yeah, took that away. Here's a few more shots. Just had a lot of fun with it, really. Yeah. It went out through Hypebeast, but then it, went internally through all of Burberry's channels, which was incredible. It's done really well for us.
No, it was just really one of those moments where, again, timing, brand needed to have an injection of life and saw us as, I guess, an agency that could break the mold, kind of a dream brief. And then since then, lots of brands are coming to us for that. It's like an ideal position to be in, to be, even if it's a one-off project, just being able to really go wild and reinvent the wheel each time. That's a busy slide, isn't it? A lot's going on. So services are known. In the middle there is something that we came up with, I guess, maybe a year into Superimpose. And I guess where it came from was we're at that stage where we might need to consider new business. And I guess in the places we've worked at, that old approach of, getting a PDF together and going knocking doors, cold calling wasn't going to work for us. We couldn't do that. I think we tried and it was just like, yeah, this isn't us. So I guess the idea for Services Unknown was to create this platform that sits separately from Superimpose. Superimpose for our commercial work, but Services Unknown really is an opportunity for us to have complete freedom from client requests, be able to showcase our creativity, unhindered, and really challenge the industry we're in. I think again, the main reason we did it was because we didn't find places where we felt like we fitted in. So with that, we're like, maybe the industry needs to change. So yeah, through this platform, it's really about challenging how it's meant to be. But yeah, really, it's a great portfolio to show for new business. Lots of clients come to us now like, oh, that stuff you did for services, and we want it for our, brand campaign. So yeah, it's a great platform, and it allows all the team to just be completely mad. And we're going to show you some of our wild ideas now.
So I'm going to do my best at trying to explain this project. It's been a few months since we put it out, and yeah, it's an interesting one. So this was entirely self-initiated project, which is what we do as Services Unknown. This came out it all kind of came from the time when Cambridge Analytica scandal was happening, and we were all starting to worry about our privacy settings. Also the surge in Bitcoin worth. And as a studio, we were super busy, and no one felt like they were giving themselves the time to kind of think or unthink and kind of get their head in a good place. So I'll go through the points and kind of take you through the project. A motor cache is a concept that raises interesting questions about technology, surveillance, privacy with consumer culture. Through launching the hypothetical cryptocurrency, we posed the question of how much a brand was willing to pay in exchange for direct consumer insight into their products. Services control versus how much consumers would allow into their lives for exchange on well-being products as a reward. So it's all about that kind of exchange. It's a little bit Black Mirror as well in terms of doing something for credits to get something that could help you in your day-to-day life. So we launched a whole campaign with wellness experiences to run alongside. We created a fake insight study on currency, a physical report, industry-wide PR launch, and a series of wellness events, including Gan Sound and Doom Yoga, who we partnered with. We had an overwhelming response to this. A lot of emails from people asking us if they could buy the cryptocurrency. We had a lot of people offering to make it for us. I'm sure there's some weird ones as well. But the most incredible thing, which none of us saw us coming, was we got contacted by the Science Museum, and we were asked to submit it to their archive. And it was one of the first cryptocurrencies to be put into their currency collection in London. So I think it should be there for a long time. Forever. Yeah. We 3D printed one. I haven't got one with me, but one of those, and they've got it on archive there, which very cool.
The maddest thing about that project is it was concepted by our 21-year-old junior creative. And for myself and Toby, that was the moment where we're like, yeah, Services Unknown really is that platform we wanted it to be. You know, come with your wildest ideas, present it, and it's all yours. You know, you get complete autonomy. So, yeah, we're really proud of that project. And the doors it's opened in terms of new people come in because they've seen this and they want us to create something like that. It's just, yeah, testament to her for sure. So this one's a weird one. So this was at the start of the year again, and the Services Unknown. I was approached by political party, and they, you know, knowing that they had 8 months or left to, you know, get people to, you know, vote on, you know, speak to their MPs about me being able to push for a second referendum. They asked me to come along and sit in this meeting and see if I could offer some ideas, I guess, as the youth. It was weird because I was sitting there as like a table of about 25 old white men in suits, and I didn't know what was going on, so I turned up in my hoodie. I was late. Listened to their idea. I was actually sitting next to, you know, the round Tony Blair's chief campaign officer. He sat next to me, and he was just, I was like, what? Anyway, they asked me to contribute some ideas, and yeah, this was our idea. It was, you know, the approach was that you've completely lost trust of the British public. No one knows what you're saying. Your campaigns are all jargon, it's finger pointing. We need to break away from that. So we just thought about simplifying it to the max. Swindled is such a good word. Visualization is simple, provocative. No one wants to end up with a flat burger. We had national billboard coverage in 15 cities, the biggest one in the country on the M25, and an appearance on Sky News with Andrew Bolton, where I had to talk about politics, and obviously I have no idea what I'm talking about. I just had to remind them, like, I'm a creative director, do you know what I mean? I just came up with the idea. But again, this went out under Services Unknown, and I think I just want to make sure that Services Unknown really is about challenging the way things are done. We are, you know, a publisher, a brand, and an agency. We really wanted to break the mold of how an agency should set up, and again, stuff like this just proves that I think we might be onto something.
Yeah, a lot of people think this is all Photoshop, but they're real, honestly.
It's very real for me.
And yeah, just to kind of top that off, we couldn't do a lot of what we do now without an incredible team around us. This was taken maybe 2 months ago, and I think since then we're nearly up to about 20 people. So
it's weird.
It's crazy.
And these guys are so smart. You know, every day we come in, we're just so inspired. Everyone bounces off each other. They're all so entrepreneurial, intelligent, hardworking. And yeah, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing, opening offices in LA, without this team. Some of them are here today. Hello.
There's also some of our T-shirts up there, which I think we're doing another print run soon, which you'll see on our Instagram. That's there. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes.